Hello, I'm Dan from Ace RV Rentals and Sales, and today we're going to be taking a look at this brand new 2024 Coachmen Encore Model 375RB. I'll be showing you everything you need to know about the outside and then the inside, so you'll be all prepared when renting from us. Now, as for the dimensions of this RV, it is going to be 38 feet long, as well as 12.5 feet tall, so watch out for things like parking garages, drive-thrus, and tunnels. We're going to start off on the driver's side here, so you don't have to worry about this storage compartment. We'll go over to this one here. This is our first storage compartment. All of these are going to be very big. In the next storage compartment, this is where we've put all of our hoses and cords. So we have two dumping stations for this RV since there are two bathrooms. So in accordance with the two bathrooms, we have two sewer hoses. I'll show you where to dump these out. And then in this other bag, we have a few other hoses and cords. So first off, we have this white hose here. This is our fresh and city water hose. I'll show you where to hook this up for your water system. Next up, we have our black wire here. This is our TV cable. I'll show you where to hook this up for your cable for your TVs. And lastly, we have a 30 amp to 15 amp adapter we put in every RV, although this RV does take 50 amp service. In this next compartment is very important. We have a lot of different connections here, so I'll go through each of them one by one. Starting off with this connection here, this is our TV cable inlet. So you just hook up that black wire I showed you, and then hook up the other end into your posterior campsite, and you can get channels that way. Below that, we have a sort of outside shower, this little faucet here. You can switch this on and off with the water pump switch here. I'll talk more about the water pump inside, but this is just to wash off dirt or sand before you head inside the RV. If you don't have cable hookup, there's also an antenna for this RV, so you can find local channels through the air instead. Now we have our water system with our freshwater inlet and our city water inlet. You're going to use that white hose I showed you before to hook up to either of these, but these will serve two different purposes. First off, the freshwater, this will be to fill up your water tank itself for this RV. So this water tank is going to be 70 gallons large. If you want to use the sink, shower, toilet on the road, you're going to be taking it off of your tank, and this will be how you fill it up. That's opposed to the city water. This inlet will be for when you want to take water from your campsite through their pump instead of from your own tank. So you'll hook up the same hose but to the city water when you're at your campsite, and then this will bypass your own tank and go straight into your pipes. And you won't have to worry about these two inlets. This just helps us winterize the RV, and then this helps us sanitize the tanks for the next customer. And then we have our first dumping station. So you're going to take this sewer hose, one of them that I showed you in the previous compartment, and you're just going to clip this end with the teeth onto this dumping outlet over here. You can run it through this hole. From there, we have two color-coded valves. We have our black valve for our black tank, that's our toilet water, and then we have our gray valve for our gray tank, that is our sink water. The other one will have our shower water. So we recommend you open up the black one first, and then the gray one to kind of flush out your hose. Right now it's pushed in, which means it's closed, so then you just pull it out to open it. There are gauges inside the RV that tell you how full or empty these tanks are, so once they are empty, you can just push these back in to close them, unscrew your hose, and you're all set. Moving on, we have our generator for this vehicle. So the generator is basically a substitute for when you're not plugged in at a campsite. This will be powering all of your major electrical appliances inside the RV. That'll be your AC units, your microwave, your TVs, as well as all of your outlets behind the front cab. Now, there shouldn't be any real reason to come out here and do anything with the generator since you can activate all of it inside. However, sometimes if you run too many things at the same time, for example, maybe both AC units at the same time, those are the most powerful systems in the RV, it might cause this generator to trip. If at any case that happens, you can just come out here, flip this and open up the top. Then your breaker is going to be right here on the left. One or both of these might flip backwards. So all you want to do is just flip these towards you. So if anything just stops working, you can come out here and double check this just to troubleshoot. Continuing on, we have our next storage compartment, which houses our power cord. So this RV takes 50 amp service. You want to make sure that whatever campsite you're going to has 50 amp. You can tell because it has these 4 prongs on the end of the power cord. So this is already connected to the RV itself, so you only have to just take this end and plug this in at the post at your campsite. Once you're plugged in, all the major electrical appliances inside will be working, and you won't have to worry about your generator. And lastly, for the driver's side, we have our other dumping station. This one is going to be for the back bathroom, which has a shower, as opposed to the other one I showed you, which is just a half bath. So same situation, we'll give you a second sewer hose for this, and then you won't have to worry about your sewer tank flush just like before. Now onto the back of the RV, there are just a few things I'll point out. We have our rear view camera. I'll talk more about that inside. we have our ladder that goes up to the roof. Please don't use it, it's just for servicing on the roof. And then lastly, we have our gas tank. This tank actually, it's 80 gallons and it only uses 87 gas, so no premium or diesel for this one. Now we're gonna move on to the passenger side. Most of this is just storage, so here's another storage compartment for you. And another storage compartment. And next we have our propane tank. This tank should last you about a week or so before you'll have to refill it. The propane will power your refrigerator when you're not plugged into a campsite, as well as your stove, furnace, and water heater. We have our hot water exhaust over here, so of course don't put your hand there. The same goes for our furnace exhaust over here. We just have a few power outlets over here. Just want to make sure that you are connected to your campsite to shore power, or your generator is running. Moving along, we have another storage compartment. Another one over here. And one last storage. And lastly, for the outside, we have our outside TV. So that concludes the outside section of this walkthrough, so we can head inside here. We have a detachable screen door, and when you open up this, we have some automatic steps. Here at the entrance, we have a bunch of switches here, so I'll go through each of these. First off, we have our step light. That will be over here. This will also activate our automatic steps, so once you open up the screen door, the steps will come out if you have this turned on, so I recommend you leave that one on. Pump light is for our compartments, so once you switch this on, it will allow you to turn on your lights inside your outside storage compartments. Next up, we have our dial for the house battery, so you can just turn it from off to on, just clockwise. It's on right now. The house batteries actually are underneath this step right here, so if there are any service problems, you know where they are. You can leave this on. It will be powered in a lot of different ways. When your engine is running, when your generator is running, even when you're plugged into shore power, all of those things will charge your house battery. And the house battery itself will be for very minor electrical things. For example, your lights, your awning, and your slide outs, and your water pump, just a few other things. So you can just leave it on during your rental. You shouldn't have to worry about it dying on you unless you plan on just walking away from your RV for several days at a time. We have our fire extinguisher at the entrance here. We also have our smoke detector up above inside the RV, as well as a carbon monoxide and propane detector. This entry light, and this front light are all for the ceiling lights, the entry galley ceiling lights for the RV. And then we have this light here. This is the LED strip for the awning outside here. Above that, we have our little skylight, our automatic skylight here. So we can extend it and retract it with this switch here. And then the switch right next to it will be for the LEDs around it. Now the most important part of the inside of your RV will be in this cabinet here. This is our control panel, and this will help you with pretty much everything you need about this RV. I will start off in this corner here. So as I push down on each of these buttons, these will light up from empty to full. So these will tell you the levels of your tanks. So starting off with LPG, this is our propane tank. I'll just hold that down. You can see that goes up from empty to full. I'll hold down battery, that's our house battery. You can see that's about 1/3 charged. Fresh is our fresh water. You can see that's about 2/3. Black one is going to be our first bathroom, so black for our first toilet. That one's empty there. We have gray one for our sink for our first bathroom. That's going to be empty. And then this switch here will help us alternate between black 2 and gray 2. So right now it's flipped down to gray 2. That means it's the sink and shower water for our second bathroom. So as I hold this down, you can see that that's empty. To see the black 2 for our second toilet in our second bathroom, I can push this, and now it says that that's empty. So you're just going to switch between these two, and that will change this button here. In addition to the bathrooms, gray 1 is also going to contain your kitchen sink. Next to that, we have this switch that says TV antenna / radio. You just want to switch this on if you want the antenna to work. So even if you want to listen to music in the front cab with your radio, or if you want to find channels on your TV, you want to make sure that this switch is lit up. To draw water from your own tank, you want to turn on the water pump right here, and then this red light will turn on. That also means that if you are plugged into a campsite, you want to take their water and not your own. So once you're plugged into city fixtures at your campsite, you can switch this off. To heat up your water, we can either use propane gas if you aren't plugged in, If you are plugged in at your campsite, we can use 110 volt electricity to heat it up instead. Either way, it will take up to 10-15 minutes to heat up your water, so you should only leave on the propane gas heating if you need it. Otherwise, it'll continue to drain your propane. Below that, we have our switches for these slide outs. So this one is going to be the slide out on the passenger side, and slide 2 will be the entire driver's side over here. These two will run on the house battery, and for these to work, you need to make sure that your parking brake is on and your keys are out of the ignition. Both of these slide outs are out already, so this is the biggest size of the inside of your RV. And now finally in the middle we have our generator. So this number will tell you the total number of hours the generator has been running ever since it was manufactured. Right now it just says 1.1 since this is brand new. So you can keep track of the hours you're using that way. We recommend you have the generator on for no more than 3 hours at a time, and then have it off for about 2 to 3 hours just to prevent it from overheating. To turn on the generator, you're actually going to hold down stop first just to prime it. Just give it a few seconds until you see this red light turn on like that. Then you can hold down start for a few seconds. And now you can hear the generator on, and you're going to wait about 30 seconds. When you hear the microwave beep, that means that everything inside is working. With our generator on, I can show you how to find channels on your TV. So you're just going to press the settings button right here. Head over to inputs. We're connected to the antenna right now, not the cable, so I'll just head over to antenna. I can press channel scan here, and then it'll take about 5 minutes to find channels for you. We have 2 AC units for this vehicle, one for the living area here, and then another one with this, the same thermostat in the back for the master bedroom. So I'll just show you this one over here. All I'm going to do is just keep pressing the mode button to cycle through the different modes. So right now you can see it says off. I'll press it once, now it says fan on. I can press this fan button to control the fan speed. I'll press it one more time, it'll say cool with a snowflake, that's the AC, so you can adjust the temperature here. I'll press it one more time, now it's gone over to heat pump. And then I'll just keep pressing over until we get to furnace. The furnace will use a bit of your house battery as well as your propane to heat up your RV. And then I'll press it one last time, back to off. To turn off the generator, you can just hold down the stop button for a few seconds. Here we are in the back of the RV, so we have our big bathroom over here with a sliding door. The toilet is kind of like an airplane toilet, so you just want to push down on this pedal here to flush it. Make sure that your water pump is on or you're plugged into your campsite. And the toilet paper is RV specific, so you want to go to the camping section of Walmart, or campsites will also sell it. It's called RV Marine Dissolvable Toilet Paper. I'll also give you a couple of bottles of solution for the toilet. This is just to pour it down there in case the smell comes up from the black tank, just to freshen up the RV. And apart from that, we have our standard sink and standard shower. And here we are in the master bedroom, so of course we have our big bed over here, some cabinet space overhead, and then to my left here we have just some storage. We can hang our clothes in here. This one has a pole, and just some drawer space beneath. This here is our thermostat for the AC unit, just like I showed you for the living room. We have our own TV for the bedroom, a little charging station with USBs, and that is all. To my left here we have a bit more storage, so like a little pantry. And then to my right here we have a multi-purpose room. So right now it's an office, we have a little chair and desk here, but then this little panel, this will actually come down, and then we can have bunk beds here. All I did was take the chair out, and then this panel is now along the bottom here, and then it will come with these cushions that will fold out like so. So now we have beds for the top and for below. And to my right here we have our living room bathroom. So same as before, just without the shower, the same rules apply. Next we'll move on to our kitchen area, starting with the refrigerator. So as I said outside, the fridge will run on propane when you're not plugged in. And when you do plug in at your campsite, it will automatically switch over to electricity. So no matter what, your fridge will stay on during your entire rental, and your food will be kept cool. Below that we have our combined fuse box and circuit breaker box. We'll give you some extra fuses for your rental. I'll show you where that is later. We have our standard house microwave up top over here with the turntable and all that in there. And below that we have our stove, which will run on propane. So we have our 3 dials for the 3 burners here. So all you want to do is just set it to high. You can hear the propane come out, and then just use the starter here. And there you go. Once you're done with the stove, you want to wait a few minutes before you put the top back on. Otherwise, if you put it on immediately, the glass might shatter from the heat. We also have a nightlight LED over here. And we have a charging station you just pull up. We have just some regular wall outlets and USB. Apart from that, we just have our standard kitchen sink, and we have some extra counter space right over here. Now onto the driver's side, we have our living room. So we have a dinette and our sofa. Both of these can turn into beds, and I'll show you that. But first, for the windows, we can just turn these knobs clockwise to open these up, and counterclockwise to bring them back down. And then for the blinds, they're just pulled down once, and then tug on them again to bring them back up. To turn our sofa into a bed, first we have to remove these cushions. Next, we can pull this up and out. As you pull the sofa out, just make sure that you bring the leg up and out like that, and then you can rest it on the ground here when the RV is fully out. This is a good time to mention that we have 3 seat belts for the sofa. Then we can just bring this top part. It'll flop down like that. And lastly, we can place those cushions that we removed right in the middle here. They'll fit snugly. And here is our bed. For our dinette area, I'll point out that we have 2 more seat belts, as well as we have some storage underneath each of the side couches. To turn this into a bed, first we want to remove our cushions. With the cushions out, we have a little latch beneath our table here. When it's flipped to the right, that means it's locked, so it won't move. We're going to flip it to the left here to unlock it, and then that will allow us to push the table down onto these ledges here. And lastly, we can put our cushions in this format, and here is our bed. Moving back up to the front, we have our switch for the awning here. This will run on the house battery just like the slide outs, so I can just hold down out here. Again, make sure that your parking brake is on and your keys are out of the ignition. The awning will go out about 8 feet total, and it's only for shade, so if it gets windy or rainy, you should bring it back in. And we have our overhead bunk over here, so we have some little bungee cords on each side. That one is off, so I can just, it's right over here, you just pull this one off, and then we can bring this down. We can just slowly bring this down. There we go. And we have a little safety net that will hook up onto the top. During your rental, we'll also provide you with this envelope, which is a lot of useful information. Starting off with our online guide / FAQ, you can just scan this QR code to get there. This will answer most of the questions that you have for your vehicle. If your questions aren't answered with the online guide, then you can always call this 24/7 roadside assistance number via CoachNet. So once you call these people, just provide them with your reservation code so they'll know what make and model you have for your vehicle. We also have those extra fuses I was talking about for your fuse box, just in case anything happens. And then lastly, we have our registration for the vehicle here. And here we are in the front cab. So these are our keys. Of course, this is for our engine. We have the keys for our cabin door and our outside storage compartments here. This one here is for the front hood, so you won't have to worry about that. And then we have our own contact information here in case you need to contact us about your reservation itself. As for our center console over here, once we have the keys in, we have our radio here. You can connect your phone with Bluetooth. We also have CarPlay and Android Auto. And then we also have our rear view camera. So I can just tap this, and then we can keep this rear view camera on when we're driving. Otherwise, when you put the RV in reverse, it will automatically pop up. And as I put my indicator on, we have side view cameras. So this is our right camera, and then when I go left, we have our left camera. These switches are mostly lights. We have our switch to turn on the radio. We can even start our generator here from the front cab. To my left here, we have a few more switches. Dash fan is just this fan up here. We have our sun visor. This one is the little shade. And then the one next to that is our privacy curtain, even though it also says sun visor. So that's for our windshield here. And we also have some curtains for the side windows as well. With the engine on, we also have our leveling jacks, or stabilizer jacks. So we can just hit on and off here if it doesn't turn on already with the engine. But you won't really have to worry about this. This is just manual. You can have it so it automatically levels your RV just by pressing auto. It'll just take a few minutes to bring down the jacks here. Of course, make sure that you're parked and your parking brake is on. Then before you leave, make sure you press retract all jacks. Give it a few more minutes for it to all come back up, and then go around and spot outside to make sure that everything is fully up before you leave. And then lastly, we have this little dashboard that's for our TPMS system. And that will be all for our 2024 Coachmen Encore Model 375RB. I'm Dan from Ace RV Rentals and Sales, and have a great trip.